Hey everybody, thanks again for tuning in. Today I'm going to go over a couple of cool things. First and foremost, about a week or so ago, I got the new Roland flagship, the new V71 module. My first intention was I was going to sell off my TD50X, but before doing so, what I was going to do is copy some of the kits, my favorite kits, into the V71. What I found out is while the architecture structure of both is pretty similar, there are a ton of differences inside the V71, and I downloaded some of the kits from Roland Cloud, which are the legacy TD50X kits. I put them into the V71, and even what I found out there was from Cloud, even though those kits are free, they brought over the original instruments, the drums, but they did not bring over the cymbals. Roland didn't copy the original cymbals over. And that's an important thing because the cymbal sounds in the V71 are very different. So I'm going to go over a couple of things today. I thought it'd be cool to show you, since I decided to keep the 50X, I put it next to my 71 and I midi'd them together. So let me walk you through that. Pretty easy. So all it is all of my pads, my full kit is connected into the V71. The V71 is the primary module. From there, I ran a MIDI out cable into the 50X, MIDI in. The channels inside are already aligned. You know, Roland already does that. And all the pad structure is exactly the same. 14 inputs on the 71, 14 inputs on the 50X. So the mapping inside, I didn't have to do anything. I did have to make sure that the actual pads, you know, the setup, the trigger setup had to be done correctly. Not only the trigger type, but the way I play. Velocities, the sensitivity, threshold, curve, all of that is set up to how I play. And then I had to go into the 50X and make sure that they were mapped the same way too. Quick note. So inside MIDI, what I did do was I turned off the channel change. So when I changed to 71, let's say I have the V71 on kit number 40 and I have the 50X on kit number 30. When I would change, if you don't change it, when I would change the kit number on the 71, it would change the kit number on the 50X. All I have to do is turn that off and you can run the two at will. So I can mix and match all kinds of kits. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through a whole bunch of kits on the 71. I'm going to keep the kit, the base kit on the 50X just for this. I'm going to keep the 50X kit as is. I won't change it. Full disclosure, my 50X is highly edited. I've had the 50 since 2016 and I immediately upgraded to the 50X in 2021. This 50X has 6 different sound packs in it and 8 years of editing in it. While the V71 is a week old. I've barely touched it. I've gotten under the hood and I've seen kind of what it does, but I really haven't done a lot to it. And then something else, I've been running 2 modules for, I don't know, at least a dozen years, probably longer. I've almost always had 2 modules running because I like to bolster, specifically the kick and snare sound. I like to have those added textures. So this is really sort of nothing new, but full MIDI on 2 big flagships. I've never done this. A few days into the MIDI process, it's a ton of fun. And I have not hooked up SD3 or EZD3 to the 71 yet. I'll get to that, but right now, I'm having so much fun exploring the 71 versus the 50X that I just have no need or want right now to explore VST. Let me do a quick overview just from my perspective, how I hear it. I've been playing V-drums for almost 30 years. I've owned every single flagship. I've owned many of the mid-tier modules. I've owned F-Note, Yamaha, 2-Box, etc. So I'm pretty well versed in, you know, all the different sounds, different layers, etc. To me, this is purely my perspective on it. To me, you know, the 50X has a very unique sound. Roland does use real samples, but then they process them. If you watch the video, the Roland video for the 71, Jules will say it again. He'll say, you know, we recorded all new sounds for the 71, but Roland processes them. He says it. And they do. They process them, so therefore you can go under the hood and do the editing, the endless editing that is inside both of these modules. They would not be able to do that if they left the sample size pure. So that is a true Roland thing. But just from an overall perspective, my feeling is, you know, you get the 50X from a sound quality is here. You've got the, you know, a VST like an EZD or an SD3 way up here. You're talking about, you know, 300 gigs of sounds in SD3. You're talking about kit sizes that are easily 1, 2, 3 gig, and that can't happen in a module. So what Roland did is, I think the 50X is here, we call it VST is up here. The 71 to me, to my ear, is kind of like about maybe here. So it's definitely a huge step up, especially in the cymbals. The cymbals are real. When you get inside the 71, it says you're playing a Byzance, you're playing a Paiste, you're playing a Zildjian, you're playing a Zildjian A, you're playing a Zildjian K. And I've owned most of these cymbals, so I can hear it. I can hear it and I can feel it. But the cool thing, again, because of the editing, if it's a 21 Byzance, I can easily make that into a 24, and I can change the pitch on it, and I can change the dampening on it. There's so much you can do. I can change the weight on it. So all of that stuff says I can dial in my cymbals. I can dial in 14-inch hats, and I can make them 15, 16, 17s. I can add weight to them, etc. All the stuff you can do inside of Roland, it's all there. But to me, the 71 is, from a realism perspective, just that much ahead of the 50X. Really sounds exciting. So things I'd say to listen to the cymbals, I'll play those. Listen to the snare articulations. You can hear more body, more snap to them, just more realism. The kicks, you can hear that little bit of air moving. That's more than the 50X. And the toms especially sound richer. You can hear the woods, if you will. You can hear the depth of them. I'll run through some kits as is on the 71. Then I will turn on the 50X, kind of go back and do it again, so you'll hear what happens with MIDI. Again, I'm not going to change the kit on the 50X, but you can just imagine what happens with all of the, you know, different kits that you have inside when you change them. All of that sound, you now have up to 5 layers of samples in each individual pad. So enough yapping. Let me just go through. I'm going to play a bunch of stuff and give you some examples. I'm going to be turning volumes up and down.